Hello everybody, my name's Andy Powell. I'm a Global Training Manager at Mitels, and I'm responsible for most training needs outside of the United States of America. So today our presentation is about why bringing communications into the cloud matters. Not just the computers, we're bringing the communications too. So I think we can safely say that communications has changed considerably. Where once most communication was peer-to-peer, now we have whole networks of interconnected people defined by whatever, their political, economic, geographic, work and social needs. In fact, by probably many more parameters than that. We, and by we I also mean I, have come a long way since I started in the communications industry. These days I'm having conversations across the world to you on this very platform. When I started, I was sending 25 words a minute in Morse code in the Merchant Navy. So it's, the world has changed just in my lifetime. Seeing that change, you can see that we're kind of on a train ride. And that train ride of communications has affected a lot of things. We can see evidence in some of the statistics that we use to measure our own economic environment. Among many, I would add, lots of businesses have come and gone. 52% of the names on the Fortune 500 in 2000 are now gone. And, by all reckonings, in the Fortune 500 of 2025, 45% of those economies are from emerging economies such as India, China, and so on. So there are big changes out there. And that change is actually reflected in our industry. We've seen exceptional change since the people I competed against and solutions that I used in 2006 have converged. Some of them are no longer with us, some of them have been acquired, some of them have merged, but it has changed. And now my competitors, some of the new entrants weren't even around in 2006, or at least when Mitels was first founded many decades ago. The way we communicate is changing, also the way we consume things, with online retail directly affecting the high street, from buying something to own, changing it to something that you pay for on a monthly basis. If we look at some of the technologies, Mitels commissioned a report not so long back looking at roughly about just under 900 companies, IT professionals in those countries, and asking a simple question. What technologies have the greatest impact in the next 5 years? Well, there were some surprises in that, and there were some that we weren't so surprised about. Interesting results. Cloud was number 2. The reason I'm here talking to you today was number 2. Understanding the data we generate through business analytics was number 1. Funny enough, almost everything else on this chart generates that data that we need to analyze. And most of that data is generated within a cloud environment. So, having that data to make meaningful business decisions is essential. I mean, look at where IoT is now. Being able to react from machine to machine communications, but still do it in a customer-focused way, can actually bring increased performance in business process and that customer experience. We achieve this using Omnichannel contact centers. I'll talk a little bit more about those later in the presentation. But creeping up on this chart, the use of AI in that customer interaction. Are there things that AI can do before you need to talk to a human being? These things are increasing performance in that customer experience as well. A bit disappointed at robotics, though. I think that's probably because it's very niche and very specific to certain industries. But, things change so fast. The adoption curve now is measured in months and not years. So, moving on, well, we see that change from a financial perspective in Mitels' relative markets. So we look at enterprise voice versus hosted PBX and what we call unified communications as a service. So that's what we put into the cloud, but we can provide it on site too. Now, the on-site or enterprise solutions are decreasing depending where you are in the world. They can be decreasing 2 to 5%. In some places, it's still level. Does really actually depend on how much cloud has been deployed locally. But the growth in cloud is extreme. So being able to transition or migrate customers from largely an on-site enterprise solution to the cloud is an essential requirement for companies such as Mitel. And we hope to make that transition for our customers as easy and plentiful as possible. So this cloud, communications in the cloud is touching everybody. And Mitel's strategy is to make everything cloud capable. So we've been going through that transition ourselves, transitioning from providing TDM solutions through IP telephony to building those communications into software and then moving it onto the cloud. And the ability for us to be able to do all of those, doing the on-site, provide it into a virtual software environment and moving it into our own data centers and providing it as a service. This is something that projects Mitel as to one of the leading providers of these kind of services. It hasn't happened overnight, and for many of our customers, it won't happen at once. But a lot of the cloud technologies are just slowly creeping in on businesses. Businesses will accelerate or slow down depending on how they adopt and navigate through these technologies. Now, our opportunity in Mitel as a company is to accelerate that and by doing that, enabling our customers to accelerate too. So, it will touch every customer, and, many people have come to this conference looking at cloud computing as their focus, but, when we communicate, we're computing too. So, it's important to spread, integrate that business throughout. So, one thing about cloud which we've discovered is that customer experience needs to be cloud enabled. And we did a report and we commissioned from a company called Walker, and they say by 2020 major brands will be differentiated not by price and product but by the experience that they give their customers. One of the reasons for that is that customers have many channels to communicate their experience, and bad experience seems to get spread about quicker than good experience. So it's something that all companies have to provide the fastest response times for, and be able to react quickly. I experienced this myself not too long ago, sitting the other side of the check-in for at Heathrow, for example. It was that hot summer we had, and all the vending machines were broken. We couldn't go out past the check-in, so we were sitting at the gate. And I suspect 200 others were getting on Twitter, and saying, "We are dying of thirst here, # name of airline." I'm withholding that for reasons. But that airline responded immediately on Twitter. And within 10 minutes, bottles of water and orange were brought down to that gate. This was a positive customer experience, even though it was triggered by a negative one. So I'm more likely to fly with that airline, and I've got to say they weren't the cheapest airline. So, that positive customer experience is shaping the way I think, and that's an example of how being reactive to that environment is important. So, like Netflix or Spotify has transformed the way we consume media, we in this communications industry are hoping and are transforming the way we consume communications. We are providing services to our customers on a subscription basis out of the cloud, and that service can be as traditional as a telephone to more recent technologies such as collaboration and instant messaging, and utilizing my soft phone built into my Mac. I usually talk into my Mac more than I talk into a telephone these days, but also providing that experience into a mobile environment. So when I am on the move, I get the same experience. A changing subscription economy. And as I said, I found out the other day, I'm even paying, I pay for Ordnance Survey maps to go hiking. It's just amazing the things that are available. With that evolving customer expectation, customers demand multiple interaction methods, and they expect that service by those methods and rapid responses. The business wanting to compete must take that and make that digital transformation and expect that customers will want to communicate them in their own personal way, rather than me as a service provider or as a company forcing them to provide connectivity in a single way. So customer experience is a new battlefield for companies who want to gain competitive advantage. Okay, I'm going to introduce you a little bit of technology now. I've been talking about a thing called Omnichannel. So this is a huge trend now in the contact industry. Now, you would have formerly known this industry as call center or contact center, but Omnichannel now is the ability to move a transaction or conversation or communication from one media to the other and give that seamless customer experience. So what does that mean? It means that I could have a customer hitting me on Facebook Messenger, could have come into my website and could have sent an email, could have actually made a phone call. And the ability to be able to respond in other means is important. So if we're going to differentiate as a business, then the experience becomes the product. So today, we're seeing some people don't have such good experiences, but when they get a rewarding experience, you know, that can reinforce your customer base. Hopefully people tell other people as well. Because I know how it works. If I have a good experience, I try and tell people about it. But I also, you know, if I'm aggrieved, I'm very quick to get on Twitter and say I'm not quite happy. So the experience has become the product, as I've mentioned in previous slides. By 2020, the Walker report concludes that it will exceed price and product as a key brand differentiator. Now, one other interesting shift, if you like, is moving away from what I don't think it's very affectionate, called suits, uniforms, and boots. You know, people who sit at office desks are knowledge workers. People who then do something with that knowledge, and then people who actually deliver a service. That's what it means. What's happening now is the people on the right of the screen are now more connected into the information. So the organizational center has actually shifted. And it's been shifted because real-time communications enables us to deploy that information or give access to it or integrate it into processes directly to a mobile device or to technologies which the service worker or the deployer is using. So that may even extend outside your company into contractors and your partners and vendors, you know, integrated supply chains and enabling that to happen. Real-time, action-oriented, and be able to respond to the actions and triggers for anybody in that process. You know, we can actually integrate applications and information. It's getting easier. Mitel solutions use a de facto APIs and so forth. Using, you know, one of the principal ones is a one called REST, which stands for Representational State Transfer. Sounds technical, but it enables me to maybe push information to a web page. It enables me to put a soft phone inside a customer relationship marketing application, so I don't have to leave the application to make a phone call. It enables me to integrate my communication chain. So how do you bridge that gap? Well, I've mentioned technology that we're deploying in some of our legacy platforms, but we can actually deliver those services out of the cloud. We can connect your data as a company to your communication platform. We can connect your business process to that platform, and we can connect the things that you measure and analyze to it, so you can integrate that supply chain. You know, digital transformation is, do you know what, I must confess to have used that word for a long time. You know, technology will always change. Technology, hopefully, will always advance. So one of the principal advantages of taking that out of the cloud is that we take you on that journey, because a cloud is an upgrade all kind of environment. Many of us wake up every morning and look at our mobiles and our iPads and see the 10 apps that require upgrading overnight. I must admit, I've given to trusting it to happen automatically lately, and it seems okay. But I used to just upgrade them all in the morning. It's that kind of upgrade philosophy, bringing new things to our customers that brings that experience and that customer experience to life. I'm used to using unified communications tools for collaboration. A classic illustration of this is, collaboration is about showing rather than telling. For me, it's about cutting down the amount of email I have. I mean, if you send an email to someone and they respond immediately, they are, in fact, having a peer-to-peer conversation with you. Why not use the telephone? Why not use instant messaging, to speed that communication? Why not share and show what you're trying to talk about from your desktop? These things are very powerful. I'm doing this very conference from a desktop in my home office. It's very, very powerful. So with those communications tools and with the APIs, we can then integrate that supply chain. The other thing we can do is customize it. So it's important that we, look to our customer specific requirements. So, depending on what solution you take, I'm going to talk about that in a few slides' time, but we can actually prioritize or customize your environment and make the cloud fit your sky, so to speak. So, I think to summarize what I'm saying so far is, our successes will be about enabling, cloud enabling the customer experience. So let's have a look at some of those future paths to the cloud. So, a path is I'm at one point and I need to reach a destination. Well, the funny thing about cloud is that destination it changes as technology changes and goes forward. So it's more about the journey we take you on. So can we take you through that transition? Can you take you through that path? So first of all, I'd like to define what we mean by communications in the cloud. Now, there's basically in our industry three buckets, if you like, that we put our communications in. There's the on-premises world. It's been out there a while. It's been enhanced by unified communication. It's like my own car. I own it. I have to keep it running. I have to sometimes buy a new one when the old one gets too old. It's on-premise. I am responsible for its upkeep. I maintain it. I have to maintain my skills in driving it, so forth. And that's what you have to do as a customer, owning your own communication solution. Then we have these kind of cloud stuff with two versions, a private cloud and a public cloud. Now, a private cloud is like a taxi. I've determined the journey I want to take, but I don't have driving skills. I don't need to maintain the taxi. I just pay him to take me on that journey. Now, a private cloud is very much the same. So I'm going to pay for a private cloud monthly. However, we as a service provider, Mitel, have given you dedicated resources which you can control the maintenance window of. We can enable our partners to deploy it as well. But we can make it yours. We can customize it. We can make it even more highly available if you've got specific requirements. We do all the work, but you have the control as a customer. Now, private cloud, is provided under what we call an operational expenditure, OPEX model. The thing is, tends to be a little bit more expensive than public cloud because you have dedicated resources. And resources is not just equipment and technology. It's access to people, customer service, support, and all those things. Now we look at public cloud. And this is like a bus. These analogies do work. I'm on a bus. I've decided on the journey I wanted to take, but there are other people on the same journey. So I'm on the bus with other people with similar aims and similar destinations. I, again, don't need skills to drive it. I don't need any cost to maintain it. But what I don't control is, I can't take it off the bus route. I am going to have to stick on that bus route and so forth. And that's a public cloud, as we call a multi-tenanted environment. So these are hosted resources which are shared amongst many customers. And typically, because they're already running, their implementation time is much faster and quicker. But you have no control over the maintenance window like a private cloud. So there's some industries that really insist on control of that maintenance window. But our maintenance window for the public cloud is sympathetic, but it's not under customer control. So we will do upgrades overnight at low usage times and so forth. So those are the kind of different communication deployment types you're going to see. And the key thing for Mitel is that we have all three and provide the path to change between these solutions. Now, you need to look for some benefits, or we hopefully our solutions provide them. Looking for, in a cloud solution, scalability and flexibility. It meets my business needs now, but I want the ability to change it in the future. And so that's about scaling up, growing. It can be flexing either way across a number, but it means I'm reassured that what I have now will still be applicable in the future. And then we look at application integration. So I've got a platform that I can adopt best-in-class new technologies very quickly using de facto APIs like the REST API, but others. It must be out-of-the-box, secure, and reliable. So our SLAs are in those documents that you can see that you can download, but typically 4 to 5 nines SLA to the inbound communication, which is pretty damn good. I can provide additional reliability by adding geo-redundancy features on some of our solutions, and I'm providing services in the background. I'm encrypting what I'm communicating with, my voice call, my IM, all encrypted out of the box. I'm securing the communications, so the setup calls, all that is using secure standards. In the data center, of course, it's in a physically controlled environment, but it's also electronically controlled environment, and it's monitored. So we look out for things like toll fraud and so forth. So secure and reliability. And then there's the trust, the responsiveness as a customer. So we actually publish our availability of our data centers for cloud offerings in a public website. And you can see, and when there is an outage, you can see it publicly. Our customers come to trust us because we are very open with that. We are very reliable. We have using improvement processes internally. If we do have an incident, it's taken very seriously to stop it happening again. So it's about that responsiveness, its agility, and so forth. And then it's the total cost of operations. So you're doing this cloud thing to reduce that. You're reducing the training requirement, you're reducing the need to maintain, but I'm still keeping new features and functions. I'm reducing that cost of ownership. And because I'm integrating perhaps with other applications, I'm actually increasing my productivity as well. So these are the kind of things that we need to look for. A true service provider will also provide with a complete package, an end-to-end solution. So, in Mitel, it's about putting a handset, if you want a handset on a desk or an application on your desktop, a Mitel R&D investment to do that. Mitel staff in the data centers. It could be our partners deploying this. We have many excellent partners that add value to our solutions. But, the actual core technology and service is a Mitel one. But it can also include circuits. So looking for flexible connectivity. Now, there are many ways in which we can connect our communication solutions up. We can go the full-fledged MPLS. We can integrate into your existing MPLS solution. We can provide you with a direct circuit that Mitel can manage from our network operating centers. We can provide you with those kind of things, and we can provide you access via the internet. We call that over the top. I always find that an interesting term, but over the top of the internet. So, and bring the two together so that your remote workers who coming across the internet have the same experience as those in your office or in your headquarters. so that you can have that flexibility and also extend it to your mobile estate. So, being able to control my unified communications on my mobile device as well. And looking at security, with cloud, it's important to build security in because, you are using potentially public networks. So we secure our solutions at a physical level, at an encryption level, and at a management level. So by providing gateways into the data center, we can give you a secure connection to your mobile device, to your handset on your desk, or your soft phone on your instant messaging on your desktop. So that's an important thing, and having those integrated technologies into the complete solution. For our multi-tenanted solution, we call it MyCloud Connect. There are a lot of stuff that just is enabled. So even though many integrations require bespoke or customized, and we have a cloud offering, that's the private cloud offering for that. Having standard plugins for Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, Google, Zendesk for trouble ticketing is a good thing. And even our multi-tenanted, remember, on that bus, everybody else on a similar journey, but having that ability to integrate into these, the market-leading applications, and it enables more of our customers to utilize the benefits of a multi-tenanted environment. So this is our two cloud solutions. I've been talking private cloud and public cloud. Multi-tenanted Connect is our multi-tenanted standard architecture. It's our bus, if you like. Fast, easy deployment, less complex environment, but highly feature-rich. However, the customer doesn't have, you get a full suite of applications in there, access to them, but the customer doesn't have control of the maintenance window. And if you want higher reliability, and Connect is an SLA of 4 nines, if you want higher reliability, then we move to our Flex solution, which is the private cloud solution, dedicated resources for the customer, the ability to customize through APIs, the ability to have control of the maintenance window, the ability to add in things like geo-redundancy, cross-redundancy, those kind of things in that. So having that wide portfolio of cloud solutions means that we can tackle a lot of customer types and requirements, but should cloud not be suitable for our customer, we also can then bring the same or similar functionality with our enterprise solutions. So looking at a customer of ours, so we've got quite a lot of customers in cloud. We are the market leader, so there's no surprise there. This is a recent one for MyCloud Connect, and it's a customer called FIFO. And they're basically an organization that provides kind of rating services for their customers. So, they're actually almost cloud integrating, if you like. They have utilized Mitels MyCloud Connect, and they utilize it with utilizing Microsoft Dynamics as a customer relationship platform. They had a legacy phone system, but it had a limited functionality. It kind of precluded any integration opportunity. They were getting complaints about call quality, and that was affecting their customer service. So they put in MyCloud Connect, full UC collaboration, including audio and web conferencing, the mobility, hot desking, and the ability to integrate with Microsoft Dynamics. Over time, they had a 50% cost saving. And it was simple things like not having to open two applications and copying data between them. The person who rings is integrated into Dynamics. I can click to call from Microsoft Dynamics. All those things increase greater productivity, and they actually measured a 50% cost saving in their environment, which I think is quite a major improvement, a spectacular improvement even. What makes a good cloud customer? So you kind of ask yourself a few questions. So do you have a preference for predictable operational expenditure? Now, there's the advantage of that. Operational expenditure features is offset in a single tax year. There's reduced upfront costs over having a capital expenditure, reduced training requirements. It tends to be more end-user training. By the way, our end-user training is out there. You can just get it in public domain. If that's your preference, then yeah, cloud could be for us. Are you already using the cloud? Do you have other apps deployed? Do you want to move quickly? Are you opening other locations quickly? Are your IT staff, stressed? Are they have multiple priorities? Is the communication system high on that priority? If it's lower, maybe you want to focus on the business analytics from that chart, the number one thing. Maybe you've got no desire to have that kind of infrastructure in your business. You want to pay someone else to do it. You do want to stay current on technology, and I think more and more people want that because they're used to it in their mobile environment. You want quick and easy scalability. I want to add sites, people, functions, users easily. Our solutions can be self-managed, and you can add users very, very easy. Maybe you want high reliability, but want the advantages of the cloud. So disaster recovery, business continuity is a good thing. And the showing rather than telling, the collaboration. If you're used to using collaboration in your workspace, you know the improvements it can make. So if you fit that bracket, then this could be a good solution for you. It's all about choice, and we want to offer you that choice between a public, private, and premise-based solution. Mitel is very well positioned. In fact, at the moment, we are number one in cloud seats, over 4.2 million cloud users around the world. In terms of unified communications as a service, we're number two with over 1.2 million seats around the world. And we're recognized as a leader by Gartner in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for unified communication. In fact, we've been there 5 years in a row. And we're the only vendor that appears in all three Magic quadrants for business communications. So we feel pretty pleased with that. So I mentioned I'm Andy Powell, and here's some of our customers here on the screen. I hope you got something out of it, but let me just go to the questions. I noted that FIFO integrated with their CRM. What does this mean in practice? I.e., what sort of thing can happen with that type of integration? So the sort of thing that you can do is basically, you can either prioritize the CRM in the communications app or vice versa. So it means I don't have to open multiple windows. It means I can deploy desktops in a single way. So for example, I can put my CRM inside my unified communications window as an iframe. So say I got someone coming in on an instant message, or maybe I'm looking at an IoT device that's triggered an alarm. I can forward that on with an iframe. I can forward that information in an iframe, and then the escalation or the supervisor can see that very easy. So that's all integrated. If it's a new customer, for example, that dials in, I can create a new record from the UC application with all the call details in, so I'll save time having to type that stuff in. Or it may be the other way around. Maybe I'm in the CR application and I want to be in there. I do a lot of analysis in there. I click on a customer name and I can call him or instant message him, or remember it's Omnichannel, whatever communication is made. So I can do quite a lot with the CRM. One really cool thing I can do too is I can actually take my call information and put it in the CRM analytical engine, or use Mitel's own business analysis tool. So there's lots of things that can happen with that integration. I have another question. We're moving to cloud in our IT and telecoms, but we have legacy phone systems that we want to keep on some sites for various reasons. I understand what those reasons are. Can we create a single connected phone network mixing phone systems and clouds? By and large, it's got to be standards-based. So if they're utilizing non-proprietary protocols such as SIP, that's the key thing, then we're pretty good with SIP. We've got lots of examples of customers where we use other handsets, and then as they age and they break or they go out of maintenance or warranty, we bring in our new handsets. So it can be done. We're using CloudLink also. We can, in the future, the legacy platforms, not Mitel, we'll be able to bring applications that way. But I think yours is about protecting the investment of the handsets. So yes, we would look at that on a customer-by-customer basis and the feasibility within the phones that you have. Sometimes it's a commercial offer. Remember that when moving to the cloud, you're moving to something you own. to something that you basically pay a monthly fee for. So there may be some commercial incentives to change your desktop as well. So hopefully that answers your questions. And can I thank you for attending this webinar? I hope you found it good and interesting. And as I said, don't forget to download the supporting documentations. Don't forget to send us an email if you've got any further questions you have. Okay, thank you everybody. Goodbye.